Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today I'm doing something a little different than normal. So with Halloween coming up right around the corner, I thought it would be a great time to make a costume. Specifically the costume for one of my main characters in the book that I published last year. It specifically came out 1 year ago yesterday, so I thought it would be a very timely video to upload this almost a year later. This character is pretty near and dear to me as it is the first book that I have published and he is one of the main characters. Um, The only thing that I don't like about this costume is how the jacket turned out, but I was dealing with both limited time and limited resources, as Walmart was the only place I could go shopping, really. Also, limited skills. This is the first time I have ever done any major sewing at all. So it was a bit of an experience for me to figure out, but it was well worth it. I do like how most of it came out. So what I started with is cutting off the sleeves to the shirt here because I wanted to put on sheer sleeves to the button-up shirt. The sleeves are made out of curtains that I got from Walmart. Very cheap, very nice to work with, except for strings that come off the end, which I am unsure of how to get rid of. Why I say limited time is because I was going to a Halloween party a month prior to doing this project, so I only had like 3 days to do the entire costume and the crown, which I'm very proud of finishing all of it before leaving. Alright, now that I have both the sleeves off of the shirt, I need to start putting the sheer sleeves on them. So here I just used a couple of sheer white curtains that I got from Walmart. They were like 18 bucks and a ton of fabric. So here you can see me measuring out how much I do need for the arm. I wanted to keep it like a little flowy and not exactly tight just to create that very elegant illusion. And then here is kind of where I had trouble with trying to measure out the diameter of the armhole that I needed to cut to know how wide I needed to make the sleeve. Um, I decided to do it in the worst way possible by using one of my flexible tape measures and then just measuring out, because now I know where I wanted it to fall on my arm. Now that I have all the measurements and cut them out, I made sure that they were roughly the same size before starting to connect them to the shirt with pins. This was a great hassle as I am notorious for stabbing myself with said pins. But I made it through and started using the actual sewing machine. This is not the first time I used a sewing machine. I have done minor altercations on other pieces of clothing and even tried quilting at one point in my life. Both went pretty okay, but neither held my interest for too long. And here I start with the hoodie. Now this is a normal gray Walmart hoodie. I just needed to remove the hood and the pockets and all of the ruffle end things on both the sleeve and the torso part, which was a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. Actually, removing the zipper was the easiest thing, because all I did was cut it off just underneath where the edges would hide, because this is set in medieval times, and they didn't exactly have zippers in medieval times. And that was the end of day one, as you can see with the costume change. I didn't show doing both sides of the shirt because it's the same on both sides, but I did try it on and it fit very well, and now I'm going in and trying to remove the pockets. The pockets were one of the easier things to remove. but the entire sweater itself was very easy to deal with and very warm. So I live somewhere where October gets pretty cold, so I'm excited to wear this on Halloween because it'll be very nice and very cozy. So it's no secret that I am a writer. I am not a illustrator or artist, but I did my best to draw my character, as you can see right here, where he has the flowing shirt, that nice sunset scene with the breeze flowing through your hair as you read a book. It was this This is my first time writing a romance, and that is one of the most romantic scenes that a singular person can do, I think. So that's kind of what I made his whole aesthetic off of, is this daydreamer and, staring longingly into the sunset, at least before the events of the book take place. Although he kind of always has this like optimism and problem solving about him, which I think is very cute and endearing. But if you read the book, one of his major things is this blue coat that he's always wearing, and what I did was a little less than a blue coat. It's more of a gray coat with blue accents. So maybe someday I'll redo the jacket, but I'm pretty happy with the accuracy of the rest of the aesthetic. I did do another drawing later on, which is him in more of a laid back, relaxed kind of outfit, which I think is also very nice, but I did only have time to do one costume, but since there's a whole month between now and Halloween, maybe I give it another shot, or maybe I do the other main character from the book, Ace. I do have a lot of the stuff for Ace or the Rebels costume already kind of figured out, so I do also have the hair for that one, because Rigel is a blonde and I have brown or red hair, depending on what time of year it is. And so does the Rebel. Alright, so after I took off all of the stuff that I needed to on the gray sweater, I decided to start with a blue outline of a thread, just kind of around the top and around the bottom area as sort of a more decorative piece, because otherwise this would just be a bunch of ribbons on this Walmart gray hoodie, and that kind of looked a lot less effort than I wanted to put into it. So here I am, kind of just going around the edges and making sure everything looks folded and cleaned up a little bit. When I took the bordered ruffled stuff off of the torso part of the hoodie, it kind of left the bottom looking a little ragged, and there was a line there that kept both of the inside fleece and the outside piece together. So doing this line up and down would also keep all of that together that I took off. Sewing it all together was a lot harder than I expected, particularly with keeping everything straight. No matter how hard I tried, the lines were always going one way or another that I had to pause and fix and rearrange and stuff. And then there was also the stopping and starting and making sure that thread wouldn't come out. That was also pretty difficult, and one of the main reasons why I don't do hand stitching anymore. I tried doing that for a while and it went pretty well, because it's just slower and you're able to control it a lot easier than going on a machine, but doing those knots at the start and the end is real difficult for me. I am really glad for this project because it taught me how to thread a I'm really glad for this project because not only did it teach me how to thread a sewing machine, but it also taught me how to thread a bobbin and also reload a bobbin when using the bigger spools of thread. I had no idea you could do that before, and now that I think about it, I've never really seen the little bobbin spools full of thread at a sewing shop. Maybe that's because I don't really spend a lot of time in one of those, but it definitely makes me interested to make more outfits in the future, whether just sort of casual things that I can wear every day or for costumes for my books that I'm writing. Just in case I need to alter something or do something particular that you can't really find on shelves. It would have to be very rare for that second example because what I normally write is just people who are blending into everyday normals. It's very rare that there's something like specific and special that I'm writing in, unless I'm doing a period piece like this one. And now that I've sort of finished with the sweater and figured that all out, it's time to move on to the shoulder decorations. So I found this really nice thread at Michael's that looks like a golden braid that I really loved. And then I had a old loofah that I cleaned really well and then dyed different shades of blue with some hair dye. Worked slightly less well than I wanted, but I probably needed to just let it sit longer because it did work really well before I like rinsed it out, which was absolutely needed. But then I move on to using my favorite tool, the hot glue gun. You can stick pretty much anything to anything else. It is absolutely fantastic because sewing is a lot of fun, but I really enjoy using the hot glue gun because most of the time I'm working with things like popsicle sticks and less fabric. So hot glue, my number one choice of putting things together, or if you ask anybody who is related to me, duct tape. Duct tape is a very wonderful thing. I love duct tape so much. Again, you can stick pretty much anything to anything with duct tape, just as long as you wrap it a few times. A few times now, I have made suits of armor out of popsicle sticks and duct tape, and I plan to do another iteration when I learn how to knit. So I'm gonna knit something underneath, and then make like a breastplate and a helmet made out of popsicle sticks. You can see me here trying to put this darker colored blue kind of hanging down the sides of the shoulder, and I'm measuring out, putting it at 3 lengths so that I can braid it together with the lighter piece of loofah. Just sort of have this very fancy braided kind of thing going down the back to make it all like swishy. And then back to the sewing machine so I can add another piece of curtain down the back too, beside each of those braids. And finally, the total fit check. This is basically my character rendition. You can see the shirt and the jacket. I was looking in the mirror on the other side and kind of twirling around. You can see me laugh when I was putting on the shirt because it was just such a fantastic thing to be done. I was very excited to be done this project. I think it came out very well. It's one of the best things that I have ever done. I am super excited to do another project like this. Probably be another character if I have something that I have to custom do in the future, but we'll see what that looks like. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side.